Hello, everybody. Welcome to how your health, affects your wealth, and how to get more energy and get more done and feel great. And I'm here today with three of our Women Helping Women Stand Out Online members, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves. They're all experts in this field. So we'll start with Beth. Beth, tell us all about yourself and what you do.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm Beth Larson, and I am a certified high performance coach, and I specialize in working with ambitious women who want more from their lives. And more to me means more success, more joy, more passion, more energy, more productivity, more money, and more meaning.
That's great. A lot of mores in there. That's
A lot of
fantastic.
mores.
Yes, that's great. And Kathy, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Kathy Frost. I'm the founder of Forget Diets Forever. I've been empowering over 5,000 women to be able to simply create more health, happiness, fitness, and activity in their life without the worry or the guilt from dieting, because when you diet, about 25 to 30% of the weight you lose is lean muscle, which right away decreases your metabolism and your energy. And it's really almost next to impossible to keep it off. And that's why 95% of people regain the weight they lose. So I help them be able to be fit and active and healthy without a specific diet.
Thank you, Kathy. That is great. Yeah, diet is not a great word. It has the word
Nope.
die in there, right? For a reason.
Exactly. The first three letters are
Yes.
diet. Who wants to do that?
No, no, absolutely not. And Barbara, tell us all about yourself and how you work in this field with health and wealth and feeling good.
Hi, my name is Barb, and I am CEO of Creative Space. And there's a couple different portions to what we do. So I'm an anxiety and trauma therapist. So I help with mindset. I help with trauma and how it blocks a lot of adds to the negative thoughts that tend to hold people back from experience wealth and healthy, just in general lifestyles. And then we also help fix toxic workplace environments.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that'll definitely affect your health and affect how you perform if you're in a toxic environment. So this subject, it's so true. If you don't feel good, and I know a lot of us are watching or not feeling good, there's so many people are suffering from so many ailments, whether it's physical, emotional, or both. And this really affects our lives as entrepreneurs because, we're expected to work long hours and, put in the time. But if you're not feeling well, it's really hard to do that. So I want to go around. We'll start with Beth and just tell me your thoughts on this. Some of the things you see maybe that, what are some of the limitations people are facing, in trying to advance their careers and businesses, but being held back by health issues?
Yeah, well, I was so excited when you actually had this topic because it is like my passion topic. I myself went through burnout about 8 years ago, and that burnout was affecting every single part of my life. It was a physical burnout. It was adrenal fatigue, brain fog, the weight gain that went with it, hormone imbalance, like everything was just out of whack. And I felt like literally like I had no energy. And I always used to describe it like I felt like I was dying on the vine. I mean, I felt like my life force energy was literally dying away, and it was impacting every part of my life, including the career that I had worked so hard for. It was being impacted. And so, all those years that I put in of striving and working so hard, it was coming back to bite me in the butt. And unfortunately, it wasn't taking a chunk out of the butt at the same time. It was just adding on weight. But that's why I'm so passionate about this topic, because your energy impacts everything, not only just your ability to do your job, but it is literally impacting everything that you attract into your life too. I am a big person that believes our energy is what attracts back to us. And when you feel like you have no energy, it's not just a matter of not being able to perform your job, but your energetic vibration is literally so low that you're not able to attract in the high vibrational things into your life.
That's very, very true. It's, when you're not feeling well, that reflects back, right, at your energy levels, and
Yeah.
that's going to reflect back to everything that in your life, and the quality of your life. And you bring up a good thing about weight gain and not being like when you're not feeling good, you can't exercise as much, so that maybe affects your weights, and then you wind up being in a vicious cycle where you're feeling bad about yourself and beating yourself up. And Kathy, you're the diet no more guru here. So tell us, how does this affect, with people are experiencing any sort of health related issues, and then a medication may give them some weight gain. How do they deal with that? With having to deal with the psychological aspects of putting on extra pounds and feeling bad about themselves, and that impacts their energy and everything else.
Right. Well, I think it's just a vicious circle or cycle, I guess I should say, because as women, we're taking care of everybody, not usually ourselves, but everybody else. And we're the ones that get the last couple of minutes if there happen to be some during the day. And if there isn't, well, then it's tomorrow. And we get in such a routine, especially when we're busy professional people, that we just don't take those minutes to ourselves because of a lot of reasons. We feel guilty and all of that sort of thing. We oftentimes maybe skip breakfast or don't have much for breakfast, or you work through lunch and then you're just starving on the way home, and then you have to go through all of the things that you have to do in the evening, and you just forget to take and really nourish your entire self. And it's hard to help women be able to understand, if you just take 5 minutes, start with something simple and eat a breakfast. And women are really, I want to say, intent and feeling like they know what they should do, but they just can't do it. And typically that's not the case. There's simple steps you can take to just start your energy vibrating better, and it doesn't have to always be what you put in your mouth. I always encourage people, start drinking water, because we need all that hydration. And as women, a lot of times we even forget to do that. But water helps. Our brain is so much water. And so if you can hydrate your brain, all of a sudden you come a little bit out of that brain fog. And you'll feel just like you have a little bit more mental energy. And people are amazed when they start doing that. And then if you just focus on just doing simple things, eat more protein, eat meals, but it doesn't have to be complicated. And you'll start to realize that, oh, I feel just a little bit better. And then, of course, activity is important. And there again, women don't usually have time to spend 30 minutes to an hour in a gym. I own 5 health clubs for women. I understand that. But I also understand that you can just spend 5 minutes at home doing something simple, as basic as just a functional activity, and start just helping improving your muscles just a little bit. And it's amazing how just setting yourself up to do little things, couple of minutes a day, can tremendously start to help you improve everything, because we basically have to get the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, and our physical all working together as one unit, not just focus on just the what you eat and how much you move, because it's a whole lot more complex than that. But that's usually what we worry about.
And that's a really good point that you bring up, and the fact that a lot of these things that maybe only take 5 minutes, but women are neglecting themselves. But if that were their child, that they would never not give their child water or let their child skip lunch. But it's for ourselves. It's psychologically, we put ourselves, down low on the totem pole.
On the totem pole.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, Barbara, this would definitely fit into what your expertise is. Why is that? Like the simple things that Kathy said that seem so logical. Why are so many of us, do not value ourselves enough to take care of ourselves?
Well, especially entrepreneurs and the people that are in the field for helping other people tend to be empathic. And so they feel like, well, my job is to help everyone else. And you can't do that if your bucket's empty. You can't do that if you're completely depleted. So it's super important to remember that if your bucket's empty, there's nothing to give. And what you're given is probably not your best.
Absolutely, absolutely. Beth, you want to chime in on this? Because I know you also work, with women on this energetic level and, this whole self-worth thing. I think most people, if you're watching now, you put in the comments, is that you? Do you put yourself last in your family? Does your husband, your kids, your mother, your father, everybody come first? Your pets. I know I would not allow my dogs not to have their meal but we do it to ourselves all the time. I think it's like a universal female problem that we're just caregivers to others and not to ourselves. So what do you say about that, Beth?
Yeah, it's dead on. I think that Kathy also made a really great point when she was talking about the different kinds of energy, mental, emotional, spiritual. I think she mentioned. I refer to our bodies as your personal power plant. And if you think of what a power plant does in nature, all the different kinds of power plants that exist, whether you're looking at, hydroelectric or sunflower, solar power or coal power, whatever it is, all those power plants do is take natural resources and transmute it into usable energy. Well, we have the same ability to do that with our own personal power plants. And those resources that we have available to us are mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and also environmental. And the environmental are the things surrounding you, people, places, and things. All of those things are either giving you energy or they're taking away your energy. And, when you think about having to protect yourself first, put on your own seatbelt first or your oxygen mask first, you have to look at all of those areas and say, how am I protecting my power plant? What am I doing to make sure that my power plant is at full energy, because I'm capable of generating more energy than I currently may feel like I have.
That's a really good point. I like that analogy of the power plant, right? And and you shouldn't feel guilty if you need to take a nap and you need to rest. You shouldn't feel, oh gosh, I shouldn't do that because I'm wasting time. It's almost like when your cell phone, when the battery charger goes low, you need to put yourself on the charger,
Exactly.
Right? Because then charge yourself up because you run out of that energy. And I like that idea that we are a power plant, and that's that's a really good analogy, and all those different aspects. So Kathy, when you see this, so do you see a lot of times what we were saying about people having psychological blocks towards drinking that water, to getting that exercise, and you put a really great point about the 5 minutes. You could really do anything in 5 minutes. And that really works. I know I've always told myself that too. Once I got into exercise, I said, what, I'm just going to do this for 5 minutes. And then it was 10 minutes and 15 minutes. And then I want to do more and more. So it really, when you just give yourself that little bit of a goal, and you're able to accomplish it, I think that's really powerful. So speak more to us about different habits that we can implement.
Well, I think the first thing that we almost all have to think about is like Beth and everybody's saying, we have to nourish ourselves before we can nourish everybody else best. And that's just hard for professional entrepreneurs, busy women to really grasp. I like to think of it as me first today, just a couple of minutes for me today. And maybe I find that a lot of women, if I can help them start their day with gratitude and a smile. You write 3 things that you're grateful for, that you woke up this morning. I mean, it can be simple, the sun shining or whatever. But if you start with gratitude, it's going to end up helping you be able to start to love and nourish yourself better, because it boils down to being able to really love ourselves enough that we will put ourselves as a person of importance. And, our kids are important. Our husbands are important, our families, like you said, your dog or whatever. But we have to see ourselves as just as important, or a little bit more so that we'll take those first 5 minutes. And like I said, if you start your day by just having a little notepad, write down 3 things you're grateful for as you're getting out of bed. And then when you get into the bathroom, you smile at yourself. because smiling is proven to help improve your mood and, of course, the moods of those around you. So those two little things don't even take really any, maybe 2 minutes at the max. But if you can do that consistently, don't worry about what you're eating or drinking or anything else for 2 days and just do that. You're going to notice that all of a sudden you just have a little bit more energy. And then you can start thinking about, okay, this is kind of interesting. And now maybe I can start taking a couple minutes for me. But you have to start little. And I think that we're all into this energy part, and you have to be able to come up with your gratitudes even when you're way down in the pits of whatever you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
And
That is really good advice.
and when you can start there, and then once you get to taking just a couple minutes for you, now you can start to love and nourish yourself better in all the aspects. And I totally agree with Beth. When I talk about physical, it's not just your body or what you're eating, but it's all, your home, your living conditions, where you work, your auto, all of that sort of stuff. We have to, that whole environmental part has to all be a piece of who we are and how we're taking care of ourselves.
Absolutely.
Very, very good point. Go ahead, Barbara. I was just going to ask you to weigh in on that.
There's actually a psychological explanation for that. There's been studies done on the effects of being grateful or positive thinking, and the results indicate that a positive brain is a happy brain. It's a more productive brain.
Mm-hmm.
So if productivity is an area that you're struggling with, thinking of ways to be grateful is actually going to help with the productivity. It's going to increase it. And in fact, negative thoughts, negative actions impact the brain too.
Mm-hmm.
Those negative thoughts form tunnels in your brain. And it's really hard to retrain your brain to think positive. And so that's why the repetition is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's really interesting. And did you say it forms puddles in your brain?
Tunnels. It forms,
Funnels. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, wow. That is, that makes a lot of sense. And so,
Yeah.
when we're thinking of, okay, there's going to be the women who are just watching this and maybe just feel sluggish and low of energy. But we also have women with facing chronic illnesses who are watching this. And that becomes a little more challenging to feel grateful when you're in a lot of pain. I know, I've suffered from migraines. Now, thank God I've got them under control. But when I've gotten horrendous ones, and it's hard to pull up what am I grateful for. But then you'll go on Facebook and you'll see somebody's got a brain tumor and you're like, my God, yeah, I'm grateful because, I may suffer horribly with terrible migraines, but that person's, got it much worse than me. And that for me always makes me more grateful. Now, it doesn't work for everybody though. So I know, Barbara, psychologically, there are people who really have been beaten down with like chronic conditions every day, just getting out of bed, and to try to work is hard. What would you say to them? How can they find that gratitude?
So even just being able to get up in the day, just acknowledging the small things, because there's a lot that the person's dealing with. Some people have cancer, some people have a lot of hardship going on, right? And as hard as it is to deal with those things, the more that you sulk on it, the more that you try to create your own pity party, whatever you want to call it, it's actually causing your brain to reform patterns that aren't healthy for you, not in the slightest. And it's like a never-ending cycle. Once you get that cycle started, it's really hard to break.
So it's like digging grooves in your brain that are for negativity. So what you're saying is to try to dig new paths that are going to be, repetitious for positivity, which is great advice. Beth, what do you have to say about that for people who are really struggling with finding the gratitude when they're not healthy?
I think it's really important that we don't try and whitewash a situation that somebody's going through. Trying to just paint a positive face on something when they're going through something deep. It's really important that people are allowed to process their emotions and have those emotions. It's just a matter of how do you help them not stay there, because it's not supporting and helping the situation to stay in those low level emotions. So letting somebody have the emotion, letting them feel it, but then I go back to this word transmute, because everything is a transmutation. And when you can help them process the emotion and then move their energy up by helping them find that next piece of gratitude, not trying to put them in resistance, though, because the saying, what you resist persists. So if you pretend that what they're going through isn't real, then that's just really, that's creating a resistance barrier. So again, letting them have that emotion, but then helping them move up in the scale of things. How can I get out of a victim mentality or mindset or emotion, feeling as though I don't have control over my situation, and take a look at what can I control? Because it's that victim mentality that will keep you stuck and keep you in the situation of not being able to do anything about it and get out of it. So, there's very real things people are going through. Cancer is a very real thing. MS and other types of diagnoses are a very real thing, but they don't have to be a death sentence. And so they will be if you don't help them get out of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think what you're saying works for everything, not only serious disorders, but even people who, maybe feel overweight and they're so frustrated and depressed because of it. Depression is a very real disease as well. So, anything can cause that. And so somebody could be really feeling low and depressed and unmotivated. So in their business, with their health, with everything. So that is really great advice in order to try to lift yourself up, out of that. Kathy, do you have any thoughts on that? Oh, go ahead. Finish.
Well, the other thing I was going to say about that is that's why I look at all 5 of those different areas, because I think it's important to help people see where they do have control. Because when you're in a situation where you feel like you don't have control, it's being able to say, where can I control? Okay, so can I control my thoughts? Yes. Can I control my emotions? Yes, you can learn to control your emotions. Can I control my environment? Yes, I can control that. So helping them pick out the pieces that they can control. So it empowers them with that level, which gives them a bigger energy boost as they learn how to control those things.
That's very powerful. Yes, being able to have control, even if it's small amounts, to feel more powerful and in control. So yeah, I think that's excellent advice. And I think, so we're, covering how we know there's a direct, we've got our body, mind, spirit, emotions, everything affecting how, our businesses and everything around it. So everything is connected. And so just going back to, I'm going to ask Kathy, but it's a more practical, everyday type of thing that I think everybody probably deals with, is that afternoon crash, you wake up, you're feeling kind of good, and then that after lunch hits, and then it's down you go. I think for most people would say that's really, would you agree, where you want energy between 1 and 5 p.m.?
Yes, exactly. And that's where you need to start and think about, what can I do right at the minute? Because, and there's some things we can do to prevent it. But one of the things that we can do before we get to that afternoon slump is, if we're drinking our water, we're going to keep our brain hydrated. So we're going to be a little bit, yep, me too, a little bit less likely to have that. But it's important then that women make sure that they understand the importance of eating lunch, because a lot of women don't, or they eat very little. And the protein piece is the most important piece of lunch. And that's what women typically don't eat enough of, because they've got this diet mentality. So they grab this little lunch, and it's maybe a salad and maybe a couple pieces of protein. But you need the protein, because that's what's nourishing your muscles and helping your muscles feel energetic. So you need the protein for lunch, and then make sure that you have a protein snack around between 3 and 4, because you need to be nourishing your body. And if you have, it can be as simple as a handful of nuts. It can be, I love the Kind type bars, and not the granola ones, but they have ones with nuts in them and things like that. Just have it simple. Or It can even be peanut butter and an apple, but have it already there and know that it's okay to have that snack, because now you're going to be fueled to get through the rest of your day. So it's all about fueling our body with the proper things. Water and protein, if women increase both of those, they will really start to find their energy increase. And it's amazing what it'll do for them.
That's really interesting because we all do probably lack in protein. I know me being a vegetarian, probably more so than other people. So it's really important to try to find, especially if you don't eat meat, how to find those protein sources.
Right. And there's a lot of good vegetarian proteins now. So I'm not saying it has to be meats or cheeses, but nuts are even great.
Nuts are great, yes.
Yes, but I think that because so many people live in this, what I call the old diet mindset, where they want to try and keep their caloric intake down. And so they see all the veggies and all of that, which we do need, as being almost free food, but they think of some of the protein sources like nuts. They think, oh, I shouldn't have that. But in reality, your body needs that. And so by having protein, and I'm not going into keto because that's a whole nother thing. That's not something that I push. But anyway, by having I like to say whole things. So real food, I'm into real food. If I can't pronounce what's in it, I won't eat it. But if it has like nuts in it, that's great. But having that plan ahead, I say, always be prepared. Be that Girl Scout, always be prepared. So carry that kind bar in your pocketbook so that when you're out and about, you can just grab it and you've got it, and you're not tempted to run to the vending machine and maybe grab something that's sweet, because that's what a lot of times people tend to get into, the sweet or the salt and Crispies, the chips and stuff like that. And or they're thinking that, oh, I'll have pretzels. Well, that's only pure carbs, so that's going to only make you dip further down. So, you have to have that balance. And to me, it's all about balance.
That is really interesting.
A little protein, little carbs, and then, of course, your veggies. But you need to balance them all out. And then don't forget the water. I always start women with water. I have I call it a hydration bot, but I remind them 8 times the first few days to drink water throughout the day. And they're amazed at how much different they feel just from the water. So water and protein.
It's really interesting you saying that, because what you're saying is that the simplest things we're overlooking is affecting our energy levels, and we're looking outside for maybe more caffeine or, like, the biohacks. Like, I love to see, things, with like, oh, what's this nootropic, like but we don't go back to the basics, like water and protein. We want the magic pill. We want the limitless pill. We want to pop it and be able to do. And I know, Barbara, you were mentioning something about the brain. Were you saying something about nuts? How does it affect the brain?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Your brain needs nuts to function. The healthy fats actually go to your brain. That's how it functions.
That's funny. The brain needs nuts. That's kind of funny. Like, but if you'll be nuts. But yeah, the brain needs nuts. You remember that. That is really interesting, because it's so true what Kathy said about people being afraid of nuts and people afraid of avocados, which I could never understand that. Oh, it's so fattening. I always believe if nature grew it, you can't get fat off of it. I mean, if you were out in the jungle and you're eating avocados, nuts, and unlimited fruit, I actually had a debate with my older daughter about this. She's like, you always told us we could eat unlimited fruit, and that's not true. It has sugar in it. I'm like, but that's natural sugar. I said, if you were stuck out in the wild and you ate that all day, I guarantee you would not be, have any weight issues. It's the processed stuff, but people do. And these are the things we need, the good fats. Like there was a whole debate on coconut oil, and I was like, oh my God, coconut oil is so good for you. And they say coconut oil is evil and it's horrible. And some stupid guy wrote that in a thing. And I'm like, that's like one of the best things, the coconut oil. It's people that drink the coconut water, like the pure ones from the coconut on the islands. It's healing. I believe that anyway. But it's interesting though, Barbara. So tell us more about this, what you know about this with the brain function and protein and nuts.
Hmm. Yeah, it's the healthy fats that does it.
It's all the healthy fats.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yep.
and
Does
it
that
helps
help with
you.
depression and stuff too? Like help people combat like their emotions because their brains are feeling more alert or just more
It can.
energetic?
It depends on where the person is because um, a lot of times with like depression or bipolar, there's a chemical imbalance in your brain,
Oh,
and
okay.
so that can't always be helped with like vitamins and things like that, but they do help improve and they help improve your performance, but they don't take it away, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And you're also a specialist with anxiety, so I wanted to bring up meditation, and we have a discussion about that too. What is
Hmm.
your thoughts, Barbara? And then we'll go to Beth and then Kathy on that.
I love meditation. It's like there was a study done in one of the schools, I think it was a middle school, that decided to eliminate detention and started implementing meditation instead.
Oh.
And I thought that was awesome because it's a coping mechanism. It teaches you how to look internally, how your body's feeling. So it teaches you how to determine where the emotion, because emotions are not just coming from your brain. You can actually feel them in your body. You can feel where happiness is. You can feel where sadness is. You can feel anxiety where it sits. Um, so meditation teaches you how to do that. So you're reflecting on where you feel the emotion in your body. You're reflecting on your thoughts. You're reflecting on just life in general and just situations and how to process through those. So it's an awesome, awesome, awesome coping mechanism.
Wow, that really is. Beth, what are your thoughts on meditation and how can people who have a hard time meditating, like me, who are like kind of hyper and sitting still is tough, what are some advice you have for people who say, yeah, I love to meditate, but oh my gosh, I just can't do it more than a minute, you know?
Yeah, well, first off, I think there's many different types of meditation, so it's important that people try different things to find out what works for them. Some people need a guided meditation that actually gives their brain something to do. Other people need to quiet and still completely go into that blank space. There's different types of meditation for different people. There's a lot of great apps out there, like the Calm app or Headspace, that you can use to help you meditate. But meditation can also be as simple as closing your eyes, and for 90 seconds, doesn't have to be long at all, just for 90 seconds, just release, repeat release over and over and over again, and visualize or feel or imagine the tension and the stress draining out of your body. Or to Barbara's point, focus on within the body, going within, and where do I feel this emotion? What does it look like? How would I describe it? So that you're actually directing the mind, because when the anxiety is there, your brain's all over the place, and the emotion gets triggered by the thoughts. And so then it's like you've got your mental fatigue going on because the brain's like wired but tired. It's all over the place. And then you get the emotional fatigue on top of it, and it just becomes this chain reaction in the body. So when you can give the brain something to do, if it needs to do something, and direct it, the guided meditation works really well. But again, it depends. I really recommend people try all different types of meditation because different things are going to work for different people.
And is guided meditation, this is one, I do definitely respond better to guided meditation, but I always felt like it wasn't real meditation. Like you're supposed to just is it equal, the guided meditation? Would you say
I think
it's the
so.
same? Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
that's
it
good to know
depends.
because I always said, oh, I'm not doing it right, you know?
Right. Well, and that's a whole other thing that just makes the anxiety go up is there's the pressure to get it right. And that's why it's like you got to start with what works for you. And you can then work yourself into other types of meditation as well. You can go deeper with it. But when you put the pressure on top of yourself to get it right, and to go to that place of, the space between the space, which
Oh.
I know when I first started meditating and I was told that's where I was supposed to go, I'm like, oh my God, my anxiety was through the roof because I couldn't get there.
Yeah, it's very, the only thing I noticed that I can meditate, and I mean, for maybe 2 to 3 minutes a day, but 1 minute at a time is my Apple Watch, the Breathe app on the watch that
Yep.
goes, if you ever seen it. I can do that for 1 minute. But like if I had to do it for like 3 minutes, I'd probably go stir crazy. But 1 minute, like in the morning, 1 minute in the afternoon, and 1 minute before bed, I do it. So I do get 3 minutes in. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's a start, right?
It's a start, and those things add up. And then when you can try and make it cumulative and work at it little by little. I mean, I do now at least 20 minutes in the morning, but in the beginning, I mean, getting a minute in was good. And if I had tried to go for 20 minutes at first, the frustration level would have been unbearable. So just start with 1 minute and work those 1 minutes in.
20 minutes. That is fantastic. And do you do guided or you do just straight meditation for 20 minutes?
I now do the silent meditation, but when I started, I mean, it's taken me 4 years now to get to this place. You know, there's other people out there who can meditate for an hour, 2 hours. I'm definitely not there. One day I'd love to go on one of those silent meditation retreats, do Vipassana, where you go for 7 days at a time, silent meditation. Wow. I'm working my way up to that.
Well, you're on your way. 20 minutes is great. I'm very impressed. That's fantastic. And Kathy, what about you? Do you incorporate meditation as well?
I do, and I encourage all women to do it too. And I totally am with Beth and Barbara. You have to start little. With any change you're making, you have to start little. So that 1 minute of quiet, just to try and quiet your mind. And it can just, I usually encourage them just the deep breathing, because then it gives them a focus to do something, you know, breathe in and out, you know, down to the that belly breath. But it doesn't matter, just that minute or two. And then, you know, eventually you will grow into more time. And yes, I do about 20 minutes a day too, but it never started that way. I would never encourage somebody to say, okay, now go meditate for 20 minutes, because first of all, we're busy women. We don't have 20 minutes. But once you do it for 1 or 2, and maybe then you get up to 5, you know, then you start to really say, the time goes fast. And so then you realize, and you're reaping the benefits of it too, because you just finally, at first you're kind of, you know, well, is it really that helpful? But then you notice, and I encourage the gratitude at the same time, you just start feeling better, and you have more energy. And so then it's just, you can compound it. Or, you know, I also encourage people to think about it in the evening, just 1 or 2 minutes. I like women to take, and before you climb into bed, write down 3 things that you were, and I don't use the word successful, 3 wins for your day. What were the 3 wins you had today? Because most women look at what they didn't get done. They go to bed with this laundry list that, oh, I wish I could have gotten this, and this done. And so now look at where that puts your mind when you're going to sleep, when it's supposed to be, you know, getting that rest and that healing process that it needs, but yet we have all this negative energy going on. So instead, if we take and write down our 3 wins for the day, now you're going to bed with more of that, wow, that sense of accomplishment, and you're feeling more grateful and like more abundant. And so it's important how we start and end our day can really determine how our day is going to run, but also how the next day is going to start and run.
I love that. And so that is a great idea. 3 wins before bed and 3 gratitude things to be grateful in the morning. Barbara, do you want to add some more tips here for with these? You know, you've got some. There you go.
Tiny little thing. So if you guys have ever heard of Insight Timer, a coworker turned me on to it. It's awesome. It's a free.
What is that?
It's a free app, and they have all kinds of guided meditations on it. So anything from stress, anxiety, happiness, manifestation, anything that you can possibly think of, they have a topic on it, and it's anywhere from like a couple minutes up to like over an hour.
And what is this called again? Insight, like
Insight Timer.
Like an insight.
It's only free for a certain amount of time, isn't it? Because I ran out.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't ran out yet, so I don't know.
How long have you been doing it?
For a couple weeks.
Okay, you probably haven't quite hit the spot yet.
Okay. Actually, my
But
goodness, I must
it's a
have
great
downloaded
place.
this.
It's a great place to start. It really is.
It is.
And
Is this it
there's,
here?
like you said, there's so many different areas there that you can use. Yeah.
So just so everybody knows, because sometimes it's hard to hear, it's Insight, like an Insight timer.
Hmm.
Right now, I'll just show you here on my phone. Just put this up to the camera. This is on the Apple phone here on the iPhone store. They probably have it also, but maybe we could put that in the comments too. The Insight. It says meditation helps you sleep. There's 6 million meditators. So I must have. It's funny because it says open. I think I downloaded this once before, and one of my millions of, you can see my pages and pages of apps. Which is terrible. It's like new app, I got to keep track of them all. But I'm going to go back to that now. Thank you, Barbara, because these type of tools to help us to keep us on track. We need that extra little help. To have these little tools. I actually shared, but you got in one of our recent videos when I do the Get It Done in 5-minute videos for the Standout Online members and for Women Helping Women Premium, there was, and I'll just share with everybody here. I think I just posted this morning. There's a Chrome extension and it's called Pixel Pixel Challenge. And it gives you like little squares. So you put what you want to do. Say, I want to meditate 20 minutes a day or 5 minutes a day. And each day you do it, you fill in the little square and it gives you like a little box. So it adds up across your screen, which I thought was so cool because you can make your habits, like Kathy was saying, if you each night that maybe you're great, you put the 3 things that your wins. Well, I did that. Now I can go to my screen and I can get my little colored box. And then it'll be like a streak of things. So you guys all can watch the video I did on it because you guys are all in our private group. Everyone else who's not in the group, they can just go to Pixel Challenge Chrome extension. It's for Chrome. But I show you guys in the video how to use it. And I think something like that ties into what we're talking about is that whole little tracking, keeping, I want to walk 5 minutes a day or I want to, do anything you want to do, but to give you that visual. To get excited to say, oh, I get to make my little colored box and add to my, my little screen of boxes that I've completed that for the day.
Love that.
So I think that's great. These type of tips that you guys are sharing are fantastic. Beth, do you have any tips like anything you want to share that would be really helpful for us to get some more energy or keep on track? Or...
A couple. And actually, Kathy had mentioned breath when she was talking about meditation, and it triggered breath for me in another way. I definitely believe breath with meditation as well, but breath in general is really important for energy. So again, you think like a plant, you need water. To Kathy's point, you need a lot of water. Usually dehydration is the first sign of fatigue, or fatigue is the first sign of dehydration, sorry. But also lack of oxygen. We are chronically under-oxygenated as a society because most of us are just not breathing deep enough. So being able to take deep breaths throughout the day, you can even do breath work, but really being able to breathe down into the abdomen, open it up, not just the shallow breathing in the chest, which is where most of us are breathing, because that oxygenates the blood and you can get a real flow and boost of energy that way. I also like to do Qigong. Qigong in the morning or Qigong throughout the day. You can stimulate your body's energy system just by doing a quick 1 to 2 minute Qigong exercise. It can really get the energy flowing, and it's amazing the difference it can have on your chakras.
What is that exactly?
Qigong so Qigong and Tai Chi are both energy work, forms of energy work that you can do. So there's all different extensive exercises that you can do, but it's about being able to actually feel energy. Sorry, you can't see my hands, but actually being able to feel energy and stimulate your energy system, so like your chakras, and not just your chakras, it's the entire energy system, but really being able to stimulate the energy throughout your body. It's amazing. One of the best energies or Qigong exercises that I do, that I call it the body buzz. I'm sure that there's a whole nother name for it that's correct, but I call it the body buzz. And it's you start at your ankles and work your way up, but clapping really hard against your legs. Work all the way up your left leg, all the way up your right leg, then on the sides, each side, and then starting at the hands and working your way up here, Same thing on the other side. And then bend over in the back of the lower back. There's a huge energy opening there. And you're using your hands like clapping pretty firmly against it. You do this exercise, you do that whole routine about 2 to 3 minutes, and then just kind of close your eyes and bounce in place, and you can feel this incredible buzz throughout your body. And it's like an energy endorphin rush in your body. It's amazing.
That is so cool. Now, have you made any videos on this, or do you know of any like YouTube videos that we can maybe post in the comments?
I haven't. I can look for some YouTube videos specifically though for Qigong exercises, because that's just one exercise. There's so many other ones, but it's an amazing rush of energy. And like I said, these are 2 to 3 minutes. That's all it takes. It takes one to 3 minutes to calm your mind, 2 to 3 minutes to boost your energy. So no matter what you need during the middle of the day, if you've got the energy crash, just boost your energy up with a quick Qigong exercise. If you're overstimulated and anxious, you can just calm down in 1 to 2 minutes. You can manage your energy throughout the day in these different ways. And I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian or anything like that, but I've learned to eat for my energy and eat for my vibrations. So before I go to eat anything now, I don't do diets at all. I'm not a vegetarian or anything like that, but I look at everything that I'm about to put into my mouth, and I look at the energy of it. And I ask myself, how am I going to feel when I eat this? Before it goes in my mouth, I mean, I never used to be able to turn down chocolate or sugar. I was a sugar addict, but sugar has such a numbing effect on my energy that now I don't even want it. I don't go anywhere near it. And that's all I did was change what I took the moment to stop before I put it into my mouth and ask myself and look at it and feel the energy off of it. If I couldn't feel any energy off of it, it doesn't go in my body.
Wow, that's interesting. I have never heard of that, of actually asking yourself before you. And it's funny too, I guess, because food too also ties in a lot with like emotions. Like now, if you put ice cream in front of me and you're going to say, how am I going to feel eating that ice cream? I'm going to say, oh my gosh, I'm going to feel really great because I love ice cream. Even though other people wouldn't, it's not really energetically just for me, because I have this thing with ice cream, which I don't eat all the time, but when I do, I love ice cream.
One's an emotion and one's an actual feeling, and they're two different things.
Right, so like it's going to be a healthy thing, getting into the vibration. Like, when you eat a strawberries or watermelon or fruit, that's going to energetically be better for your body than a piece of cake.
Yeah, it's being able to distinguish between the emotion and the energy.
There you go.
Two different things. They're two different things.
Right. Two different events. They could feel the same, but they're different, right?
Yeah, one's a reaction of the brain and one's a reaction in the body. And, it's the brain, it's the wiring that's off when you're using something like sugar for the high. That's just a brain chemical reaction that you're getting. Whereas you're not really, instead, you're actually going to have the complete fatigue and crash after you eat it and feel like crap.
Right,
So
exactly.
Two different things that you're talking about, and it's being able to stop and distinguish the difference.
That's fascinating, right? The difference between what's going to energetically vibrate with your body, energetically wise, as opposed to conditioning. Like some people overeat or eat because they're unhappy. Some people eat when they're happy. It's all, tied to our childhood and everything, what we associate with different foods, I guess. Yeah. So getting rid of that and getting to the basics just about the food itself, how it's vibrating, forget all the other stuff, is what you're saying, is to really feel into the energy of the actual food. Very well. This has been fantastic.
How do I really want to feel after I eat this? Like feel, not emotionally, but feel.
The body's going to feel. That's really good. Yeah. I mean, there's really a new way of thinking about things here. Definitely. This is fantastic. So, I wanted to ask you guys too, as we just continue on, and we're talking about energy. Another thing that affects people's health is lack of sleep. And I think a lot of women struggle, especially when we get into, over our 30s and up. And I know we have younger women in the group too, probably sleep better than we do when we're in our 40s and 50s. But the sleep is an issue, waking up at night and then feeling so tired. And so any suggestions? We'll start with Kathy and then Barbara and then Beth. Any suggestions for better sleep?
Well, I think first of all, I just want to say one more thing on the energy, if you don't mind. And that has to do with strengthening. because I think women need to realize that once they turn 40, they lose a half a pound of muscle a year, whether they're dieting or not. If they're dieting, they're losing a whole lot more. And so as women, it is important that we think of ways to strengthen our body. And there again, it can be simple 1 and 2 minute, functional activities. And just really getting in touch with our body. I encourage people in the morning, stretch. Because if you stretch now, all of a sudden you're in touch with your body and you'll start thinking about your body a tad bit more. So anyway, so I think that the one thing that I would love to have women think about too is simple ways to strengthen their muscles too, because then that will help keep your muscles firm and they won't be wasting, and that helps keep your metabolism up too. So as far as sleep, I think that's really important, especially as you say, women, tend to get to a point where sleep can be a little more difficult or challenging. And there, I think we do need to stop. And I know that for me and for a lot of the women that I coach, how you go to bed often, what you go to bed with. And I don't mean the person that's in bed with you, but all the other junk that's going on inside your mind or body. Yeah, and that's a whole other thing. Once we go to whatever we're taking to bed with us will affect how we sleep. So if we go to bed by having a calming practice before we get there, instead of, checking your Facebook and email for the last time before you hit the pillow, or maybe hit the pillow and then still keep checking it, that's not going to be setting ourselves up for sleep. It's going to keep that brain really trying to be awake. And so there again, if we have a little 2 to 5 minute, I want to say, time to ourselves to write out our 3 wins for what we did well and basically being more grateful to that, it also helps us then focus upon, what are the 3 things maybe I want to accomplish tomorrow, but I don't go there until after you're done with being able to at least put down your wins, because now you can go and have a more relaxing sleep. And there again, you can also, as you're going to sleep, there's a lot of wonderful music out there that helps induce deep sleep. Or for women that wake up in the middle of the night, that you can put that music on and it'll help bring that energy back down into that deep sleep area too. And that's not my specialty. It's just a thing that I know that if you can calm yourself better before you go to bed, that you will get a better night's sleep and probably have more minutes in deep sleep than if you go to bed with the weight of the world on your shoulders.
That's good advice. So, I think everybody should get a little booklet to keep, a little journal or something to keep at the bedside, to put those wins in and morning gratitude. Because if you do it on your phone, you're just going to get caught into the notifications are going to pop up, and then you're going to be like flying off of your win notes to back to Facebook, right? So having a physical is probably better for that.
And that when we handwrite them down on paper, our brain and body, and you probably know better than this far than I, but you will actually feel it more than if you're typing it on your computer or on your phone. And there are studies around that. So when you're really like setting out your goals and stuff, if they are handwritten, it just is more, it absorbs into your probably unconscious mind better than if you're just typing them out on your computer.
Very interesting. Excellent. Barbara, what do you say about all this and about sleep and everything? What tips do you have?
So I work with a lot of clients that have anxiety, and sleep for them is super hard because you can usually distract yourself throughout the day because you're doing things. Your mind is active, your body is active. When you lay down and your mind is still active, then it's a problem, right? So what I teach people is to establish a sleep routine. You want to quiet the mind, you want to quiet the body, and you do that by doing the calming activities that Kathy was talking about. So either whether it's taking a bath, whether it's sitting with a weighted blanket, whether it's listening to something that calms you, whether it's ocean waves, rainforest sounds, whatever it is that calms you. For me, it's an audiobook. So I like to listen to an audiobook in the background, something I've heard a billion times, but it's familiar and it's something that calms. So, and then you want to limit your phone time, shut off all electronic devices an hour before you go to bed, because that gives your brain enough time to calm down. Because when you're in front of a screen, it's a different type of concentration. So you need to give yourself time and space to calm your brain down away from electronics. If that makes sense.
That's great advice. And I love the weighted blanket. I haven't tried one and I really want to buy one. I've heard a lot of good things about them. Do you have one, Barbara?
We use one in the office, and a weighted blanket should be 10% of your body weight.
Okay.
So you can get them from Target. You can get them from online. Target is actually not that unreasonable. I think it's
I didn't know they had it at
$70.
Target.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Wow. I've seen them on like Amazon and stuff. I've seen advertisements for them and I never know like, which one's the good one to get. But I guess they're all basically have the same function, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can even make your own too.
You can make your own too. Wow. What do you have to like? How do you put weights in there? Maybe.
So you put together the blanket and it's removable weights. So, and it's it's individualized. So you can get it based off of whatever body weight you are, it's 10%. So if you're 140 pounds, it's 14 pounds. And you can, and ideally the ones that have the removable weights are, I think, more sanitary because you can actually wash them. Take the weights out and you wash the blanket.
That's a smart idea to buy one that has removable weights. Mm-hmm. This way you can wash, because you're going to want to wash the blanket. That makes sense, right? You can't wash it if it's got big, like, metal weights in there clunking around your washer and dryer, right? That's not gonna work. So that is great advice. So Beth, what are your thoughts about sleep? And then I know we're over our time, so then I want you all to, when you're done, Beth, after, just tell us your website and everywhere we can reach you, and we'll go through for everybody so everybody can contact you afterwards.
Awesome. Yep. Big on the sleep thing too. I would also add that it's not just the amount of sleep that you're getting. You know, most of us, we hear 8 hours of sleep. That depends a little bit on the individual, but try and sleep in 90-minute cycles at least. So 7.5 hours or 9 hours would be ideal because that's your sleep cycle. If you're waking up off of a sleep cycle, your cycle is like disturbed, right? So it's impacting you. So if you can get 7.5 hours or 9 hours, that would be more ideal. And I'm a person, now there's going to be people out here who don't want to hear this, but there is something to the time that you go to bed. So the hours of 10 to 2 are considered the healing hours for your body and for the organs and the regeneration of your organs in your body. So if you can get to bed at least by 10 p.m. Now, I was always a person who never went to bed before midnight for years, and this was hard for me. And I used to blow it off saying, you know, I'm a night owl. That's just who I am. It's how I work. It's how I work best. But I could not believe the difference in my energy levels and how I felt by working my way back to 10 p.m. So now I do go to bed at 10 p.m. And I'm, waking up earlier because of it. But I just feel so much better. And so I would just encourage anyone who thinks they're a night owl, try this. And you have to kind of inch your way back. Yeah, and inch your way back to it. If you go to bed at midnight now, start at 11.
So like one.
Start at 12:30.
I'm a bad night owl,
yes. Inch your way back to it because it'll take some adjustment. I mean, you'll sit there for hours at first. I would also say try and keep your phone out of the bedroom completely. I set my alarm and I have my phone in my bathroom, so I have to literally get up in the morning to go to it. But that also prevents you from getting on your email right away. I don't touch email or my phone before 9 a.m. Because that's going to derail your entire day.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And the messaging in the million
Yeah.
places, everybody's popping in here, there, everywhere.
It's all
You
going to
got
be
all
there
the
at 9.
messengers. Yes, that's good. That's excellent advice. Well, I'll tell you guys I've learned so much from the three of you tonight. This has been absolutely amazing. I wish I was just taking notes. I'm going to rewatch this and take some, because we've got some phenomenal tips here. You guys have been fantastic. I think this is going to help so many people. So I just want to go around. We'll start again with you, Beth. Just tell us where everybody can reach you. And I also want you to put it in the comments, also with your website and everything too, and how they can get a hold of you. And then
Yep.
we'll do Kathy and then Barbara.
Okay, so it's www.bethlarsoncoaching.com. So that's BETHLARSEN coaching.com.
Excellent. Thank you, Beth. Kathy?
And I'm Kathy Frost, and it's www.forgetdietsforever.com.
I like that.
Forgetdietsforever.com, pretty easy to remember.
Love it. That's a great name.
Or you can email me at Kathy@forgetdietsforever.com. Kathy with a
Excellent.
C.
Thank you, Kathy. Kathy with a C.
Kathy with a C.
And Barbara?
I'm Barb, and you guys can find me at www.creativespaceonlinecounseling.com.
Creative. Okay, and you guys are all going to put your links in there as well so that everybody can reach out to you and ask you any questions and put any questions in the comments. And if you guys can check the comments and answer anybody has any questions. But this has been really, really, truly amazing. And I want to thank you all for doing this tonight for us, because health is so important. You know, as entrepreneurs, it's something we overlook, and we really hit upon all of the major factors today that that people really need to know about. And it was just really, really great advice. So thank you so much. Good night, ladies.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you. I can't wait to do it again. We'll definitely do another show like this again.
Awesome.
Take care. Bye-bye.